Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to David Arquette about the storied life of A.J. Fickery. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It's an honor and privilege to be speaking with you. I mean, we talked before we started. I mean, some of the best projects ever. You were in them. It's pretty crazy. I love this film. I mean, first thing that comes to mind is, a lot of the characters in this film including A.J. Fikry, doing a lot of soul-searching, self-reflection. And I find it interesting because during the pandemic, because we had a lot of time, David, a lot of us were doing soul-searching and self-reflection as well. So I feel like this movie becomes like even more relatable for a lot of people because of that. I'm just curious if you ever thought about that at all specifically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the way the film unravels just like a wonderful book,
Yeah.
and it's based on the novel by Gabrielle Zevin. She wrote the screenplay. So, but when you're watching it, just all these things and like this journey of life that you're going through and sort of this self-understanding and, finding the joy in life. That was a big part of sort of my experience in going through the pandemic, that what's really important, and it's really family and your friends and, those meaningful things.
It's interesting because you mentioned, based on a very popular book. What is the mindset when you have source material? I mean, I guess it depends on the project, but for this one, what was your mindset knowing that this was based on a very, very popular book, David?
Well, she wrote the screenplay as well, so it really gave a great, guide for my character. And a lot of the time I'll come onto a set and I'll find some improv moments, some humor or some character related stuff. But this was really grounded, and it kind of helped for me to ground my character too, and not have to try as quite as hard or anything. Just be in the moment, really allow the relationships with these characters to evolve and kind of grow and have the audience discover with you.
Absolutely. You play a cop in this movie, and familiar territory, I would say so.
I know, it's so funny that I get to play a cop. I appreciate cops and I love the work that they do. One of my best friends is a cop in Connecticut, so I asked him a lot of questions.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's super interesting. And this movie, I really enjoyed it and everything. But like when they get a chance to see it, because it's in theaters now, it's available now. What are you hoping they'll get out of it specifically when they get a chance to see it? There's a lot kind of happening in this. It's a nice rom-com, but anything else specifically?
Just a love of books and bookstores and this sort of storytelling that kind of takes you on a journey that you sort of, you're kind of figuring it out as it's all going along and watch this expanse of time. I just love how it kind of captures life, the experience of life in a really beautiful way.
Were you hoping, I feel like, when you're starting on the industry, you want to go where the opportunities are and everything, but do you hope that you work on a lot of different projects and a lot of different genres, or does it kind of just happen? I feel like it might be a bit of both, right?
It is a bit of both. I mean, as a working actor, you're kind of looking for your next job, and, some things are right, some things aren't, and, some kind of subject matters you don't want to really do, but a lot of the time you need to work. So, so when something comes, when it has such a great story and wonderful director, incredible cast, it's really a gift.
It is spooky season as well. I mean, we're talking about a rom-com, but does it blow your mind looking at the horror genre and how big it is? Arguably, it is the biggest genre out there right now, and you are part of arguably one of the biggest horror franchises of all time. Is it does that ever kind of come to mind a little bit? Just seeing how much amazing stuff is in the genre and then kind of looking back and people are still watching the Scream movies. It's pretty crazy. It's timeless.
It is. I mean, it's great when you go to conventions or something, you meet someone who's we met 15 years ago and, Scream was one of the first movies we saw and now we're married. And, I don't know. when they have like stories that kind of connect their lives with it, and it has like this impact, and especially sort of the last Scream film, it really touched a lot of people, and they really kind of came out to tell me how much it mean to them. So that's why we do it, to entertain the fans and really give them an experience of sort of getting away and just being able to be swept away into this story.
Yeah, just in case people haven't seen the last Scream, I mean, all I have to say is I had to like I couldn't like be on the internet like for the spoilers and everything. Like there was a lot that happened there that I couldn't like you had to really it was pretty crazy. You worked recently on like a movie that I really enjoyed, David. It was like a horror comedy more with Joe Keery called Spree. And I really enjoyed that. There was a lot of insanity happening there. Was that kind of cool also to work, like you look at the Scream movies, kind of the traditional horror tropes, the slasher, the blood, the whodunit, and you work on something like that, which is like kind of elevating the genre a bit too, right?
For sure. Eugene Kucherlenko is just an incredible director, writer who just, put this wild world together, did all of this messaging alongside, he thought of this film in such a deep and interesting way. He's such a fan of film in general that it really showed. And working with Joe Keery, like, up and coming, really talented actor, it was a really fun project to be a part of.
Was it cool too? Also, like the new Screams, kind of similar to the Joe Keery, a lot of amazing up and coming talent as well. You got to work with on like the newer ones as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, whenever I work with these young actors, they're really impressive. It kind of gives me faith in the future that they're like, they're so professional. They're so like great at their job. They're so like they're kind people that they sort of care about each other.
Yeah. I mean, when you were younger, you were Gordy and Ready to Rumble. That was pretty.
I know it was a different atmosphere back then. We were so wild. I mean, I look at them and the way I was. I learned a lot. Where now I can at least be calm.
Just singing Van Halen with the nuns, man. That's the. But like Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, look at that. I mean, is it all storytelling for you? Because it is like all different stories, but can you kind of sum it up as like all storytelling?
When it's done right, it's a beautiful story. Mm-hmm. And when, the story works, the film works. Yep. And when you have all these different pieces come together, it's really, it's what it's all about. It's why you really do this to start with. I mean, most of the people you talk to, even in the wrestling world or whatever, wrestling's about storytelling. The stories might be, 8 minutes, but it's still about this lead up to it, and then all the emotion, all that stuff. But a lot of the people you meet in this business are in this business because they love films. Yeah, they love telling stories, and they love reading stories.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Well, it's funny you mentioned the wrestling, because that was like my next segment. I mean, you're a big pro wrestling fan. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. David, I know why I love pro wrestling, though, because there's a lot there, right? And I feel like if someone asks you why you're a fan, 2 reasons. Yeah. One, the energy. You know what I mean? The crowds. That's why, watching it during the pandemic with no crowds, I mean, it really, really wasn't the same. And I kind of but the energy. I love the production. I'm kind of what you just said about film and the storytelling. Like, I just love the production, man. Like, that's what I love seeing, right? Like the production aspect of it, that's what probably drew you towards it too, right?
Totally. Yeah. And like the people, like when you see certain people that are just really great at their character, and MJF's one of the great like mules right now, and the way he just understands the business and like sets these things up. Jungle Boy, like seeing him come up, and their dynamic with Luchasaurus, and just all of. I mean, I love all of it. Roman Reigns, like all of the bloodline thing happening right now. It's just when you follow it and you like get invested, and then it's there's something really kind of like I don't know. Like,
but that the rivalry too. Like I watch it all. Like I watch it all, and I feel like I've seen a lot of tweets out there, and people agree with us. Like it's a great time for pro wrestling. Let's watch it all, right? Like
yeah, totally. I think it's a wonderful time for pro wrestling. Really, when people take it seriously and they don't, get too full of themselves, and they really respect the business, and then they do certain things like AJ. I'm getting confused because the thing's called AJ Fikry, but
another AJ.
Wait,
AJ Styles?
Yeah, AJ Styles. I kept going this Fikry. I can imagine AJ Fikry wrestling. My whole brain exploded right now. So yeah, AJ Styles last night had this reunion, and just that, the passion of
I have interviewed a lot of wrestlers on my show. We've interviewed Matt Riddle, Darby Allin's been on the show. I did an interview. It's funny. Maybe if this gets picked up by the wrestling fans, people are gonna comment. I did an interview before the AEW days with the MJF, in character, but I never released it because it was before AEW. Yeah, it was pretty intense. But
yeah, I met him along the indie circuit, and I knew he was going to be a star because he's just so talented. I really liked his gimmick and stuff. And the one thing I was you're amazing gimmick and you wrestle incredibly, but I could tell you got a fake scarf. So you're this fake, So I sent him a real scarf, and I said, do you still use it? He's like, that's the one I've been wearing this whole time. So he got it initialed, and it's pretty awesome to just.
That's so good. Ready to rumble. I feel like right after this interview, I'm gonna go watch that again. I just love it. The part where Goldberg, Booker T, Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman come, and Jimmy King.
So that was at that one period of time in wrestling too, especially maybe WCW was on the way down, but it had so many incredibly talented people.
I love that movie. It was so good. And I loved the Storied Life of A.J. Fickery, and that's available now, and people can check that out. David, it was so amazing to chat with you. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Edie. I appreciate it, man.
You're on social media, right? Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff?
Yes.
It's just, is it just David Arquette, or is it? Yeah. David Arquette. They'll search it and they'll find it. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is David Arquette, who you can catch in the Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, and Petey Beats, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.